Let's have a real conversation. The buy now, pay later plans have become popular payment methods over the past few years, but what are these plans and how do they work? As an alternative to high interest credit cards, buy now, pay later apps offer a way to afford what you need to know and repay the balance over time. But while many may think this sounds attractive, is it a bad idea? Well, let's find out from a personal finance perspective. Joining us to break it down is credit specialist Arnita Johnson-Hall. She's the owner of Luxurious Credit. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in. So for those who don't know, can you explain what are buy now, pay later apps? They're so popular, but how do they work?
Yes. So buy now, pay later are apps or fintech companies that allow you to purchase items and get them immediately and then put you on a payment plan later. The difference about this is whether you think of like a traditional layaway or if you're thinking of a traditional loan, this is totally different. You are getting the option to pay now for it and get it shipped to you and then set up payments to where you will be able to pay it out, whether you're having 4 to 6 months payments. Sometimes longer.
Sometimes longer. Okay. Well, 70% of users admit to spending more than they would if they had to pay for everything up front. So it sounds like before you know it, you can be in a lot of debt. Is that the overall problem, that folks are spending just more than they can afford?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the plan. In fact, studies show that 46% of users that use the buy now, pay later apps do not have budgets. Also, recent study shows that users who use the buy now, pay later apps are seeing an increase of overdraft fees. All right. So also one of the catch to that is the payments are small. So you think over time, if you don't have a proper budget, if you are not financially savvy, that you're going to continue to accrue all of these payments and then go into more debt. And some of these buy now, pay later apps, if you do not pay on time, they will report you to the credit bureau.
So 42% of people who have taken out a buy now, pay later loan have made at least one late payment. So what does that do to your credit if you have a late mark reporting on your credit because you have not paid one of these loans back on time?
Absolutely. It is going to decrease your credit score and it is going to damage your credit report. Lenders want to know, what are you currently doing when it comes to paying and managing your bills on time? So when you are getting those new late payments on your credit report, it's going to drop your credit score and it's going to take a ding on your credit report. Now, I do want to add that not all buy now, pay later apps report to the credit bureaus. However, those who do, if you pay it late, it will be reported. Such buy now, pay later apps, such as Affirm. Something else that's also important to understand is that each time you purchase a product, is going to report as a new loan onto the credit report. And they're going to report as a short-term loan, which is going to close out your credit history, which hence is going to decrease the credit score as well, because 15% of your credit score is your length of credit history. So it is very important that you look at the terms and conditions of these buy now, pay later apps to ensure that if they are reporting to the credit bureaus, how is that going to affect your credit report if you miss a payment or if you apply for too many?
Yeah, and so that was my next question, because what about credit checks? So when you apply for these apps, do they all check your credit or do some of them check your credit? Is it a soft inquiry? What happens?
Good question. Yes, majority of them do pull your credit and they're going to be soft pulls. So it's not going to have an effect on your credit report. However, they are going to pull that credit report and it's going to be a soft pull to determine your credit worthiness.
You know, Arnita, you are a specialist. You've been doing this for a really long time. I think a lot of people want to know, just from your expertise, is there a particular buy now, pay later app that you are impressed with, or are they all basically the same?
They are not all the same, thank God. Okay. It's also important to understand that these buy now, pay later institutions are not regulated by the government. All right. So that is something that the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau is trying to get a hold on, because what they are seeing is correlation between those who are using these buy now, pay later apps overdraft fees, going further into debt. So they just want to get a hold on it to ensure that these companies are ensuring that they are not just providing, services to those who are unbanked or those who may not have, the credit to purchase these things, but to also make sure that they're doing what it takes to ensure that their users are using it properly. Now, my favorite by far is definitely going to be Afterpay or Carlona. Affirm is what I think you should stay away from, just for the simple fact that they are going to report it to Experian, and it's going to report as a short-term loan. And the more of these you apply for, it's going to close or shorten your credit history. So there have been some people who have had 15 years of credit history, all right? And they apply for these short-term loans with Affirm, and each one that they apply for is going to account as a new loan, which is hence going to shorten the history. So you just want to be very, very cautious. But by far from me, all right, I'm going to say Afterpay and Carlona.
Wow, I'm learning so much right now. So this is for me as well as our soulmate. So lastly, you help clients with all aspects of finances. Any tips that you can give to someone on how not to get caught up in the lure of buy now, pay later craze? Because it's out there and it's so tempting.
Absolutely. It is very, very tempting. And if you are someone who do not understand your spending triggers, if you are someone who knows for a fact that you just aren't savvy enough or responsible enough, what you are really going to have to do, because we're all adults, okay? We pay bills. We should know how to pay bills at this point. At the end of the day, we are at fault for the type of debt that we occur, especially when it comes to purchasing merchandise or retail products. So what I'm going to say is know before you buy, all right? Know what you can afford, know what you can afford to pay before you start putting yourself into more debt. Create a budget. Do you really need this? Like, really start thinking about this before you start using these buy now, pay later apps, because again, they're going to make these payments very, very small, all right, to psychologically make you think, hey, I can afford this. But what happens when you get one too many and it gets out of control? So 45% of users already don't have budgets when it comes to using these buy now, pay later apps anyway. So you definitely just want to be cautious and be responsible.
Be cautious and be responsible. I love that, Arnita. We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much. Tell everyone really quickly where they can find you.
You can find me at Luxurious Credit on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll have to have you back. This was so informative.